Tonight we are talking about COVID, monkeypox, polio, flu, whatever is on your mind. Dr. William Schaffner from Vanderbilt is here to give you the answers. You can go ahead and call in 615-737-PLUS is the number right there along the bottom of the screen. And we do have Mike holding on the line. Mike, thank you for waiting just a second there. Go ahead with your question tonight.
Yeah, hey, good evening, Carrie, and good evening to Dr. Schaefer. I like this. He must really be respected. I see him on a lot of national programs now, not just locally. So congratulations to him for his insight. The thing I would like to know is why did WHO decide to get rid of the term or the name monkeypox itself? And maybe you've already discussed this. I just turned it on, 4 minutes ago. But I wanted to find out why they decided to do that. I had never heard of anything like that happening before. They say the reason is to focus, to avoid offending any ethnic, social, or professional groups and minimize harm to trade, travel, tourism, and animals. So can you break that down to me? Because some people think it's more about not saying the male gay population is primarily the ones who are contracting it. So taking politics and cultural identities and people's thoughts on that, could you explain it to me a little bit more? And I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you for calling in. Let's talk about monkeypox a little bit. News to me that anybody said we're not calling it that. What about you, Dr. Schaffner?
Well, Mike, thank you, first of all, for your kind words. And then second, you've asked me one of the hard questions that I'm going to be asked tonight. And the reason is I don't have any insights into the discussions that occurred at the World Health Organization trying to change the name of a virus that's now well known and well recognized around the world. The reason it was originally called monkeypox was that in a research monkey in West Africa, this was the occasion when the virus first was identified. So, hello, they called it monkeypox. Of course, subsequently, we've recognized that this is a virus in Central and West Africa that occurs in a lot of small mammals. Yes, occasionally a monkey is infected, just as occasionally in Africa, a human being is infected. But it has that name now. And I certainly am surprised and don't quite understand this desire to change the name, which, by the way, I don't think is going to be very successful. Here we are talking about monkeypox tonight, and I think we will for the near-term future in any event. The important thing to realize about monkeypox, of course, is how it's spread. Mike, you're exactly right. Most of the cases continue to occur due to very close, intimate, often sexual getting together, skin-to-skin contact in men who have sex with men. And that's still the dominant population in which monkeypox got started and was transmitted in Europe, Canada, and now the United States. And it continues to be far and away the dominant population. But the longer this virus is among us, the more likely it will, of course, spread to other people. And we're already seeing just a few cases of that here in Canada and in Europe. So we know that if we can get monkeypox vaccine, into the affected population, and we can talk about that, we don't have as much vaccine as we would like, but also admonish everyone. This is a good time to be careful with your intimacies. Limit the number of sexual partners you have. Avoid anonymous sex. And I would speak to my neighbors and friends and family members who are gay. If you're thinking to go to one of these gay pride events where a lot of people come together, please remember that those are exactly the events in Europe that accelerated the transmission of monkeypox virus in the population. There's a lot of fun and intimacy that goes on during those events. I can promise you, as wonderful as the events are, the monkeypox virus will be attending them all. So think twice before you decide to attend one of those events this summer.
Right before we went on, I checked the CDC website, and it says we have 11,890 cases in the U.S. right now, 87 cases of monkeypox in Tennessee, 15 in Kentucky, but 951 in Georgia. First of all, let's just talk about what symptoms pop up. What do people need to know about saying, uh-oh, something may be wrong?
Sure. So monkeypox, once you're exposed, and I said the principal way it's spread is through very close, intimate skin-to-skin contact. It can also be spread through contaminated beds and blankets and such. Now, what happens is after you're exposed, this virus sits in your body for a considerable period of time before it starts to make you sick. It can be up to 2 weeks. We call that the incubation period. But when it starts to make you sick, your first symptoms are frequently those of any other viral infection: fever, not feeling very good, kind of a headache, and feeling just generally puny. Within a day or so, a rash will appear. Now in Africa, the rash was abundant and often on the face and head, on the arms, on the palms, so you could see it. But here in the Western world, the lesions are often few, and because they're spread through intimacy, they can be on the trunk, around the genitalia, and around your backside too. And so they can be much more subtle than when the disease occurred in Africa. So sometimes people don't even realize they're very sick, or you can't tell readily whether your partner is infected. So another reason to be very, very careful. Now, these lesions will disappear over time, but they do take quite a time to go. They can take 2 or 3 weeks. They're very firm blisters, not attractive at all. And those blister lesions are full of the virus. And so if you touch somebody else with those lesions, that's often the way this virus is spread from one person to another. It is not, hear me now, not transmitted the way COVID is through wide respiratory spread. It can be spread that way very closely, but not the way COVID is spread. This is much more a person to person to person kind of transmission.
So we don't necessarily need to be overly concerned about maybe getting on an airplane or getting on a bus or walking in the grocery store and picking up monkeypox.
None of those things would put you at risk of monkeypox. Cuddling with somebody who's got monkeypox, that'll do it.
Can we talk about the vaccine for this and any treatment that is available? Is there any such thing as that, as a treatment?
Well, let's talk about the treatment first, since you mentioned that, Carrie. The answer is yes. There is an antiviral drug. It's not licensed for the use in monkeypox, so there's a bit of a bureaucracy involved in getting it, but your practitioner can get it. He or she has to fill out a form in order to get it to report back to the Food and Drug Administration. The treatment is now focused on people who have really bothersome symptoms. And pain turns out to be a reasonably big deal, particularly if it's in the genitalia or in your rectum, where you can have an illness called proctitis, which means inflammation of those mucous membranes right inside your rectum. So that can be very painful. Also, if you have lesions that are really painful on your genitalia, or sometimes that might threaten your vision if they're around your eyes. So the treatment is focused on the most severe disease. And as I've said, 99% of these cases resolve completely spontaneously, and there's almost no fatality associated with it.
That's great news. Now let's talk about vaccine a little bit. I know there is a limited supply here in Tennessee, and it's being reserved for the folks who are showing symptoms.
There is a vaccine, and this one is actually licensed for the use of monkeypox. So why don't we use it in abundance? The reason is that there's one small manufacturer in Denmark of this vaccine, and there are a lot of countries now that want some.
Yeah.
Right? Now, our government has contracted with this company for a fair amount of that vaccine. Some of it is here and being used. More will come along the way. It's being distributed around the country, as you can imagine, focused in those parts of the country where they have a lot of monkeypox. So New York City gets more than we do in Tennessee because we have many fewer cases. I hope that sounds reasonable to everyone. And as we get more vaccine, we can open up the target to anyone who wishes it. At the moment, if you're interested in getting the vaccine, contact your local health department to find out exactly who's eligible at the present time. And if you're not eligible now, keep contacting them every so often, because we hope as we get more vaccine, we can provide it to more people.
Yeah. Okay, we have to take another quick break. When we come back, more of your phone calls, whether you have questions about COVID or monkeypox, polio, or flu. We're going to go through it all tonight. Give us a call, 615-737-PLUS.